Hey, I'm Srini, the creator of Maximize Your Output with Mem, and today what I'm going to show you is how you can use groups inside of Mem to work on collaborative projects and streamline the process of managing them. At any given time, I'm usually managing multiple projects in Mem that involve other people. Some of those projects are internal projects like special podcast episodes or designing ebooks. Others are helping clients build their second brain in Mem. And what I'll go over is how to create a group, how to set up a centralized project resource page that you can share with everyone, how to assign tasks and keep track of them, and how to put together all the resources you need for a project in one place and make sure everybody has access to them. Now, let's get to the tutorial. Hey, I'm Srini, the creator of Maximize Your Output with Mem, and today what I'm going to show you is how you can use groups inside of Mem to work on collaborative projects and streamline the process of managing them. At any given time, I'm usually managing multiple projects in Mem that involve other people. Some of those projects are internal projects like special podcast episodes or designing ebooks. Others are helping clients build their second brain in Mem. And what I'll go over is how to create a group, how to set up a centralized project resource page that you can share with everyone, how to assign tasks and keep track of them, and how to put together all the resources you need for a project in one place and make sure everybody has access to them. Now, let's get to the tutorial.
So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to walk through the 4-step process that I use to set up projects for clients or with team members where there are multiple people involved in the project. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to assume that the team project here is that the Daily Show is going to be doing an episode about MemChat. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we want to create a group and add people to the group. And the way that you do that is go over here. And what we'll do is we'll create this group called the Daily Show episode team. And once you create the group, then you can go here and you can add different people to it. The upside of creating a group when you set up projects is when you do that and you share different aspects of the project with people, you don't have to share it with every single individual. You can just share any resource with the team, and every single person who is on that group or in that group will then get notified when they actually receive the mem. They'll also have access to it depending on how you set it up. You can either give them read-only permissions or edit permissions as well. But that actually streamlines the process of sharing information with every single person in the group. So that way you don't have to keep sharing every individual mem with every single person. The second thing you're going to want to do is you want to create a project page, which is basically a central hub for the project. And we want to do this for a couple of reasons. First, it makes everything accessible from one place, so that way people don't have to go searching through Mem to find all the information they need. It also enables you to manage tasks, and we'll get into that here in just a second. Another thing that I like to do when I'm working on a project that's important is I like to star it, so that way it shows up here in my favorites, so I know that it's a high priority. Once you've set up this group page, what you will then do is you will share the Central Hub project page with the group that you set up. And that way, everybody who's working on the project will then have access to this page. After that, what you're going to want to do is you want to assign tasks to each person. And in this case, what I've done is I've just put in names, but assuming that Trevor Noah, Will Ferrell, and Tina Fey were using Mem, what we could then do is we could just add the @ symbol and put their name in front of this. And so they would see their name attached to this. And one reason that I like to keep all of the tasks for a project on the project page itself is because when you go to your tasks view, you can actually see what project it's associated with. Otherwise, you run into this issue where you might have a task page, but you can't tell which project those tasks are related to. And the other thing that will happen is when you share this mem with people who are working on the project or everybody in the group, the tasks that are assigned to them will also show up in their tasks view. They will also see all the other tasks that are in the project. That's why it's really important to specify who owns what task. Otherwise, you run into this issue of not knowing who's working on what task. So the easiest way to do that is probably as I've done here, where you put their name in front of it, or you can tag their name. One other way that you can do this is to actually create an individual page for each person working on the project. And so in this case, let's say that we're going to have Tina Fey do a bit more work than everybody else. Trevor's going to write the script, Will Ferrell's going to practice for the script, and then Tina's going to give feedback to Will and Trevor. But because Tina Fey is absolutely brilliant, we figure let's have Tina actually recruit more writers, manage a pitch team meeting, and then assign all the various assignments to writers. So really she's the person in charge and she's the one who's really managing the project. So she would be the one setting up this page and sharing it with everybody and assigning tasks to Trevor, Will, and any of the writers who are on the team. Now, assuming that we started to add writers to this project, then we would go ahead and update the group and basically go into our group here and we would add more people into this group. So if we had new members or new writers, we could then just add them. So as the team grows, you can just keep adding people to the project. The final piece of this is to centralize all of the various resources for a project. And one of the reasons I like to keep all the resources for a particular project on this project page is because of the fact that way people don't have to go sifting through all these different things to find them. The other option for resources is to just create collections. So you can see here I have a collection titled MemChat, but I've also included links to all of the various resources for MemChat. So let's say that this Daily Show episode was going to be about the ultimate guide to chat, Mem's new AI assistant. And Tina Fey and Will Ferrell and Trevor Noah were going to basically do an entire episode about all the various features of Mem's new AI assistant, MemChat. Then what we would do is we would share this with the group as we did before when we set up the project page. So the one thing that you do have to do when it comes to resources is you do have to share the resources with everybody on the team, but this is actually much more efficient than having to share every resource with every single person one at a time. This is one of the limitations when it comes to managing projects in Mem. So even if you have all these bidirectional links here, if you haven't shared them with people, then they won't be able to view them. They'll be able to see them. They'll be able to see them, but they won't be able to actually access them. And so you have to actually share them. So instead of having to share it with each person one at a time, you can just go here. And so I'll give you an example. We have a group called the Maximize Your Output Insiders group where I share different tips with people who have finished our Maximize Your Output course. And instead of having to share it with all of them at once, I usually will just write an idea and share it with them. And the great thing is that they can all see it, they can all comment on it. And that actually streamlines the whole process of managing a team project. The other thing that I find to be really valuable, this is something that I always recommend with clients that I'm working on, because I find that what they'll do is they'll start to write comments inside of this page, and then eventually this page gets cluttered up. So what I usually tell them to do is if there's anything related to the project, to put it in a comment, because the comments will show up in your inbox if this is shared with you. So for example, if I'm working on this daily episode show about MemChat, any comments I have, I can put here, and every single person who's on the team or inside the group for the Daily Show episode will actually see this in their inbox anytime that I mention something here. And that way you keep this project page clean. So just to recap all of the steps that are involved in setting up a project, the first thing you're going to do is you want to create a group and add all the people who are working on that project to the group. You want to set up a central project page like the one we have for the Daily Show episode about MemChat, and then share that central project page with every single person in the group. And then you have two different options for assigning tasks. You can share the entire project page with everyone, and everyone will actually have these tasks show up in their task view. But the important thing to remember is that you have to make sure you put their name in front. Otherwise, you won't know which task is assigned to which person. Or you can set up an individual page like we did for Tina Fey, where that person then will see the tasks that are assigned to them in their Mem. Now, if you're the person managing the project, you will actually see this in your task view, which can be annoying. The upside is that when somebody completes that task, you'll actually know that it is finished because it will then disappear from your task view. So that way you don't have to keep checking on this. And you can also, inside of the task view, go and assign deadlines and timelines. So for example, we might tell Trevor that we need you to do this today at midnight or today in the afternoon. And we might tell Tina Fey, we won't need your feedback until Friday. And so that way the tasks then get scheduled inside of the task view and people will see when those tasks are due as well. And then the last piece, of course, is to add all of the various resources to the project page as we did here, and then share all of the resources with every single person in the group. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below.